everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to plant some more bulbs in my front garden, and the bulbs that I'm thinking of planting are alliums and daffodils for now, and then I will add some tulips to them a little bit later in the season. But the ones that I'm planting are these beautiful Tahiti narcissus. They are the double daffodils, and they're absolutely gorgeous because I've planted them in my garden last fall and I absolutely loved it. So I'm going to add a few of these in my front garden. And the alliums that I'm planting are allium Schubertii. So these are the beautiful alliums that can get up to 2 feet in the bloom size, but they are on the shorter side, so they'll only get about 2 feet tall and 2 feet up to 2 feet wide. So I'm really excited to try them out in my garden and see how they do, and I'll show you where I'm planting them. And I also have one of the Irimeris Pinocchio. So this is like a turf lily that I'm also going to plant out in my front garden bed. I already planted a couple of these in my back garden, and I will be adding one of them to my front garden to see how it's going to do here. So I will show you where I'm adding these and take you along. This is what the allium Schubertii bulbs look like, or Schubertii. I'm not quite sure how to say that, but these are the ones that I'm going to plant. I think I'm going to plant them more in the front of my front garden bed. So this is where I'm thinking of planting it. This is closer to my driveway, and because they're going to be quite a nice size bloom, I think they will look good tucked in some of these gaps in between some of these plants, and that's where I'm thinking of planting them. I am going to get them in the ground, and I will show you where I'm placing them. Let me dig the holes and let me show you. So when you're planting allium or any bulb, there is a root side which goes in the soil, and this is where the shoots will grow from, and this should be facing up. And the general guideline for planting any bulb is to plant them twice the size in depth if you can, and that will be the most ideal depth for it. So I'm going to get these in the ground. I have about 6 of them, so I will mostly just line them on this side walkway here so that they are more focused, and because since I only have about 6 of them. So I'm going to get them in the ground, and I'll show you once I have them placed. You can see I've planted 3 of them, and I've left some amount of space between them because you want to do that with these bulbs because the flowers themselves are going to be a good size. So you don't want to plant them close like tulips and daffodils, and give them space so that the spheres can be prominent and can take their space to grow. So I've left a good amount of gap, and I think they'll still probably touch, but I think they'll look nice in that little spot there. And I might plant something else in the middle that blooms early. So I really like how this looks, and I'm going to backfill it with soil. I'm not adding anything, any fertilizer or anything here, and because the bulbs should have everything they need to flower next year. So I'm going to just backfill it with soil, and that's it, they are planted. So I'm going to go ahead and plant the others, and when I'm done, I'm going to walk you through what I have planted and where. So I've started to put in some daffodils, the Tahiti daffodils, on this side of my front border. I've actually added a few in the gaps here. I added about, I think, 5 in here, there's 5 in there, and just in the front here, and I think I added 3 or so in there, just so that it kind of looks like they're kind of dotted in this section here. And I also added 3 in here, a few in there, and I'm potentially marking spots for where I will be adding tulips, but for now I'm just adding the daffodils, and going to wait a little bit before I plant the tulips because I feel the squirrels are going to get them. They already started to dig one of the sections in my backyard, so I'm a little bit worried they're going to come after all of them, so I'm going to wait a little bit. But as I was planting, I'm thinking that in the front here I will add some Muscari. So I have some beautiful blue paradoxum Muscari, which I will add to that. Sorry, I was lifting the bag. So this is the one that I will add to the front here. I think it'll be nice and short, and it's going to add this beautiful blue in this section, and I think it's going to look really, really nice. So I'm going to add these in there. They are really tiny bulbs, so I think there's about 15 or 20 of them in here. So I'm going to just add them all together in this one spot here and see how they do for next year. Finished planting a few daffodils in this bed, the Tahiti, and I did Muscari in the front here, and I think I'm going to leave that as a few. I don't want to overwhelm the bed with the same type of daffodil. I think if about 15-20 of them show up in this bed, I think it will be a nice added color in this bed, and I think that's good for now. And I will think about something else in this section. I have few spots that I want to put tulips in, but like I said, I'm going to wait a little bit till it's a little bit later in the season before I put the tulips in. I'm just super worried about the squirrels getting to them, and I will wait a bit more. But I'll tell you where I'll be planting the rest of the daffodils. And I also have another allium that's a bag of Schubertii allium that I still have remaining. So I'm going to actually plant them. I was thinking in somewhere in this bed here, because then it just adds a little bit of more of that color in this bed. So I might do the alliums in here, like 3 of them in here, and then I will put some daffodils in a bit of in a few spots around this bed. So that's what I'm thinking, and I'm going to add the rest of them here, and that'll be the end of my bulb planting for today. And that's it. I'm going to continue working on it and adding the bulbs, and I thought I would show you a few of my thoughts of where I'm adding bulbs. And I know a lot of us are in our gardens, we already have lots of plants, and it's always hard and overwhelming to figure out where to put bulbs. And I certainly fall in that category, because I have a lot of other plants, a lot of other perennials that I also want bulbs, and I have a lot of space to cover. So I think at first my thought was I would just focus on 1 or 2 beds and get them right. But then I thought, you know what, it's kind of nice to see the evolution and not overdo it in one single bed. So my strategy has changed as I am digging and planting and going around and walking around in my garden. And that's the beauty of gardening. It can forever change based on how you feel, based on the types of experiments you want to do in your garden. So for my garden, I think I'm going to try a few different things in a few different sections and see what comes up in the spring and how they do, how many tulips actually survive the squirrel attack, and how much am I actually going to see next year. And then I will build from there based on how each of the beds feel, because I have a lot of new plants that I added this year and from last year, and my garden is quite full, and I love the idea of bulbs. But again, bulbs are fantastic, spring bearers, and they give you this hope for the rest of the season. And I love I want to see them sprout out in each section of the garden, even if there's 5 or 10 of them in each bed, because then it just gives you this feeling that every bed is alive and it's coming back to life. So that's the plan, and I think over the years I will add more bulbs to different sections of the bed. But for now, I think I've changed a little bit of my plan to kind of pepper in different varieties in different beds, and not just put one variety all in one bed and that's it. So I'm going to put some Tahiti daffodils here and the 3 Schubertii alliums in this bed, and then that's it. And then continue planting some other bulbs on another day. So this is probably where I will wrap up for today, and I wanted to thank you all for coming along and watching this video and coming along with me as I'm planting bulbs. And fall is a busy time for bulbs and cleanup, and there's so much happening in the garden, and I thought I would just take you along and if nothing, inspire you to get your hands in the ground and plant some fall bulbs, because I promise you come spring you are going to be so happy you did that, because it's such a joyful surprise that peeks through the ground, and it just feels so lush and so beautiful to see these greens and flowers just show their heads. There's one other bulb that I really want to get my hands on is some snowdrops, and if I see them, I'm going to grab a packet because I want to experience them, because they're one of the earliest ones that bloom. So I am going to look for those and add 1 or 2 bags to my bulb collection for this year if I can find them. If not, I'm pretty satisfied with what I have, and I will hope and pray that they will do well and come back next year. So with that, thank you again so much for watching, and I hope everyone is having a beautiful fall day, if fall is what you are experiencing right now, or in general a beautiful gardening day wherever you're joining me from, and I'll catch you in my next video.